Well, I think your grab there is very timely in that we need testing. Testing is the key. And it will become a way of life to not only socially distance, but also be constantly testing using the nasal swabs. It's great that the research workers have it. We also need it for people who are going to be coming into hospital for procedures, and we need to clear some of that bureaucracy that's in the way of widespread testing.
And what are the numbers in Australia? We keep hearing that Australia is a leader in terms of looking at the situation globally on testing. Are some states better than others? How much more testing would you like to see us do?
Well, we need to do a lot more testing than we have been doing. We may be a leader, but that's only because a lot of the world's doing very badly. If we look at someone like Iceland, they're up in the sort of teens in terms of the percentage of the population tested. And we in Western Australia are at less than 2%, half of some of the other states like South Australia and Queensland. So we need to let private business get on with doing what it does really well in terms of pathology. We need to let the doctors order it whenever they want to order the test. And in WA at the moment, believe it or not, we still have threats of fines on doctors of $20,000 if they order a screening test for COVID at the moment for a patient coming into hospital. So we need to get that red tape out of the way. And get used to the fact that if you're going to catch a plane or visit a nursing home or go to a hospital, you're going to have a COVID test within the day before you do those things.
So would you like to see that be a mandatory position, that any patient going into a hospital gets a test before they can go in for any sort of procedure?
It may not get to that, but certainly the doctors who run these places need to have the discretion to protect the facility, protect the patient, because let's not forget, if a patient has a major operation and we didn't know they were in the early stages of developing COVID, they can have a very bad outcome from the procedure and from the COVID. So we need to just let doctors do their job, order the tests where they need it. And now that we have lots of testing available and lots of PPE available, that sort of changes the culture around what we can do. And we need to also be very careful about loosening restrictions around crowds, anywhere where people are going to be crowded together in transport or in venues, unless there is extremely good testing of those areas. And it's interesting to see University of Queensland having validated sewage testing, so we can see if there is COVID in areas where we're not expecting it to be.
Schools have been back in some states for just over a week now. We are expecting more restrictions to be lifted after the National Cabinet meeting on Friday. There's an expectation that we'll start to see the call that workers can head back into the office. What should we expect from that? Is it realistic to expect that we will see further outbreaks as a result of the easing of restrictions? Is that just the reality?
Well, no, there's no real excuse to tolerate outbreaks now. We know how to prevent them while we're waiting for a treatment down the track, and we know how we can start to rebuild the economy in a very smart way so that we don't have to take the big economic as well as the big healthcare hit over time. It's not one or the other. We just have to be smarter. And part of that being smart is testing, again, around schools. So students who can transmit this disease, there's no question that they have around the world transmitted it, and also teachers who are a particularly vulnerable group. It's good that in WA they're going to be doing some testing in that environment, but no, we should not be tolerating outbreaks, because as soon as you get to 100 people, the whole thing can start to take off, and that will devastate any green shoots in the economy.
We've seen some pretty quirky tips coming from various quarters when it comes to ways of staving off coronavirus. There's the whole situation in the United States with some of Donald Trump's comments. He's been really criticised for his tips on that front. Here in Australia, in recent days, we've seen reports about the billionaire Gina Rinehart sending a letter to her workers about how drinking hot water can help prevent the virus. As we see workers going back into offices, what's your advice to leaders within those workplaces about how they should be talking to their employers about how to be safe? I mean, there's no evidence, is there, that hot water and drinking it is any help?
Well, no, there's not. And we, as humans, we're always looking for a pill or a quick fix or a lotto win. That's understandable. That's the way that humans work. But we get a bit bored with the idea that it's really all about washing your hands, staying away from the workplace if you have any symptoms whatsoever, and distancing. This thing survives. One of the things we're really not doing well enough yet is the cleaning. This thing survives on surfaces for a long time. So we need the kind of steam cleaning that you're seeing on international news reports of the spaces that humans move through, including the workplace. There's going to be heaps of jobs for cleaners out there. This is the way to go. So cleaning, washing hands, social distancing, and if you are giving information to your employees, those are the things that you should be really focusing on. There's no quick fix. There's no easy way to treat this virus. There's no vaccine yet. So it's all about washing your hands, social distancing, and cleaning those spaces that humans go through.